back for another Realtor Spotlight. What's going on with your hands?
messing around.
Do you not know what to do with your hands?
You know the reference.
I
Thank
do.
you.
I do.
Yeah.
Tulio Morales with us today. Glad to have you.
Thank you. It's good to be here. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Were you excited to come? Or
I was. Yeah, a little sad too because there's
Why?
not a third seat for my wife. Like it's not the same without her.
Well, she get to do her own.
Oh, cool. All
She's
right.
her own
All right.
self.
Like here I am doing this interview and she's over there writing offers and plugging away at real estate. I'm like, well, that's what happens when you're the good looks of the team, you know?
Well, I don't know about that, but that's the way teams should work, right? Yeah. So let's talk about other things besides real estate.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when your name comes up, or I think of you, something to do with the military.
Okay.
Tell me about that. How that's played out in your life.
Yeah. So I, at the young tender age of 17, I graduated high school, joined the United States Army, and spent a couple decades in there, and then I retired. So my background is all military. When I got out the Army, it was very hard for me because that's all I knew.
Mm-hmm.
So
did you want to get into I mean, obviously you wanted to go to the military, but 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, were you like running around wanting to be in the military?
Full transparency here, huh? No, absolutely not. It was never a thought to my senior year. There's 3 jobs that I wanted. I wanted to be a professional baseball player, a professional wrestler, or I was going to work at SeaWorld with Shamu and dive off his nose and into the pool and everything. Those were like my dream jobs.
Where was SeaWorld?
San Diego.
Oh, there's one there.
Yes.
San Antonio, too, isn't
San
it?
Antonio.
Okay.
Yep. So,
I feel like that's the one I've been to.
so I was like fascinated when I went to SeaWorld as a kid. I was like, that's what I want to do as a third option.
Isn't that the documentary Blackfish? Isn't that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Why
All right.
bring that negative spotlight?
Okay.
into
Well,
it? Yeah. Just positive.
Right. So you went to the military.
I did.
20 years.
Yep. So, I mean,
How did that change you? Or
I had
did
to,
it?
Yeah, of course. I had to mature real fast. I
Uh-huh.
mean, 3 years in, we were in Operation Iraqi Freedom, so it was, you grow up fast. You grow up, you mature quicker.
What year was that?
So I joined in 99.
Okay,
And
so
that's
02.
when I signed, and then in 2003, 2001 happened, obviously 9/11, in 2003.
Where were you when that happened?
I was down in Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
Okay.
I was actually on staff duty, and then I remember trying to get off work, and we weren't allowed to get off work, and it changed the world. I mean,
Sure.
even when I talked to my son about it, like it changed the world as we know it. I mean, there's so many policies in place now that date back to that very moment, So my son was doing a homework, and he asked me, what significant event in your life changed your life? And I would go back to 9/11. That changed everything.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
So then you went overseas?
I did. So I did a couple deployments to Operation Iraqi Freedom, a couple deployments to Operation Enduring Freedom, and one deployment to
Why do they have to
Operation-
call them something? I mean, they're all the same thing, kind of, sort of.
I guess.
Okay, so where were the different places? Were
Yeah.
they all Iraq?
No, Iraq, Afghanistan, and then Jordan.
Okay.
Hmm.
Were any of them enjoyable?
They all had different excitement.
Okay.
I was all in different phases of my life. So like Iraq, I was in my 20s, real young,
Uh-huh.
unstoppable, like I was taking over the world. Afghanistan, I was in, late 20s, early 30s, then when I went to Jordan, I was 37-ish,
Okay.
so, and through the ranks and through, everything that I went through, I matured.
Okay.
So they were all enjoyable, and it all happened at the right time when it was supposed to happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you got out, did you want to get out? Were you ready to get out? Or just kind of natural progression, or they kick you out? What happened?
No, it's a bittersweet. No,
Uh-huh.
I compare being in the military to being a running back in the NFL. Like there's a certain point in your life where your body just hurts and you're not that 18-year-old kid. So when I started being left behind, if you will, on missions, they're like, you're not as fast as you used to be, Chief. And you're like, cool. We're going to take the new 18-year-old kid. And we're like, awesome.
Right.
So
right.
I became more of the analytical side and data gathering and presenting, and And there's also some life issues, civilian life issues that I had going through divorce and all that stuff, that it was time. Again,
Sure.
like every in life, there's a time and place for everything, and it was time for me to hang up my boots. And it was hard.
Yeah.
Because I loved it. I there was nothing else I could have done that would have filled that void in my heart. Just I could not have done anything else. It was just what I needed, and I loved it. I loved it so much. The last day when I untied my boots, I wept. I mean, I can only imagine that's what it was for Jesus when he wept. Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. Anyway,
I mean, he lost a friend.
I understand.
I lost my livelihood.
I understand. I get it. So I was going to ask you before, but I probably already know the answer.
Mm-hmm.
If you could go back to 18, would you still get into the military?
Absolutely. I joined at 17, but yeah,
Whatever.
absolutely.
Yeah. Ish.
Absolutely. No, I loved it. I wouldn't change a thing about it in my life.
Right.
I've lived a life worth living, I guess you would say.
Okay.
It was, yeah.
All right. So how does what you learned from the military, how does that apply to your real estate career? Or does it?
It does.
In what ways?
There are very many parallels, and I think it's the work ethic, right? So the military breaks it down, where you got to be at what time, when, where, and they have a 30-day training calendar, a 60-day training calendar, and a 90-day training calendar.
Right.
Right. So I really just adopted the same policy. Like, okay, what am I doing? You can pull up my calendar now. I can tell you what I'm doing 90 days from now at a certain time. It'll be pinned down. So it's very much, my life is broken down by hour blocks. Like, today on my calendar was this. Tomorrow on my calendar, after this.
What happens if you get a call to go show something?
It's blocked out, right? So it just.
You can't go do that then.
That's the great thing about being TJ Real Estate Team. I can be here doing this with you, and my wife can go do that, right? Or vice versa.
Okay.
She might be busy doing something, I'll go do it.
Okay.
So
like it.
That's the great thing about having my life partner do this with me.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So she joined you later in your career in real estate.
1 year later.
1 year.
Mm-hmm.
So, what? How is that an advantage to you? Obviously, I think you've already answered it, but do you see the advantage that it gives you?
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Right. So when we talk about what separates me from other realtors, that's an advantage that I have. Like, one, we're two.
Right.
We're full time.
Same price.
Same price.
Right.
Yeah. And we're full time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a huge advantage to the consumer,
Sure.
not to me, but to the consumer.
Right. You tend to have you kind of have a social media presence. Has it been helpful, or is it maybe just makes you feel good? Which is it?
A little bit of both.
You got any business from it?
Yes and no. I guess because people already knew me, and then they started following me, and then I would get referrals from that.
Just kind of keeps it in your
Right.
head.
It just it keeps it keeps me top of mind to them. So
other than you guys being a couple and being in real estate, what separates you from other realtors?
yeah, great question. We're being transparent here and honest, right? I would never.
As long as you cuss.
No,
Yeah.
I would never speak negative about another realtor to lift me up, right?
Okay.
So I do have attributes that others don't,
Right.
and so what?
Right.
What does it mean to the consumer? How does it make that transaction more enjoyable for my consumer?
Yeah.
Right. So if you take the average realtor and they're right here, you start pulling me away. One, you already discussed it, right? We're two for the price of one. We're full time. Two, I'm bilingual, so I can speak Spanish. There's another pool of buyers that I can reach into.
Sure.
The military, me being retired, and again, the so what? What does it mean to the consumer? Why is that important? It's because I don't have to sell your house. I want to sell your house.
What do you mean you don't have to? What does that mean?
I'm not going to short sell you. I'm not going to cut corners to get you to the closing table so that I can get a paycheck, right? Because I care about you. So you're just not a transaction.
What
to me.
corners could you be cutting?
You could be misleading. You could, not to go down this negative road.
Well, I'm just curious. What is it you could be cutting I mean, my thought is people that cut, they just want to pick up the check and go.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they don't.
So
really,
you know, you can give or you can withhold advice that you know that is not in best interest of the client.
right.
You know, you could probably end up selling somebody a house that you know isn't the right thing for them, or vice versa.
Right.
And I've told people that before at the table, like, hey, don't sell this house. Like, if you're gonna sell it, cool. I'm going to sell it for you.
Right.
But my recommendation is for you to hold this, rent it out, because that's where your return on investment is, or because you haven't met that 24-hour time block
Sure.
yet to sell it. You're gonna end up paying taxes on this, and it's not wise. You're taking a loss on this deal or whatever. It's like, don't do it.
Yeah.
You know, just wait for the right time. I'm here whenever you need me, but it's not the right time right now.
Right.
So that's what I mean. You know, do I want to sell your house? Absolutely. But I don't have to sell it. Does that
That's
make
good.
sense? So that's
Yeah,
what that means to the consumer. Going back to separating me, okay, so we talked about the Army. We talked about the retirement and all that jazz, the bilingual part. I honestly believe in my heart that I'm the best realtor there is, right? And by the time it's said and done, that I'm the best realtor there ever will be, because I care. Every morning, I try to read the contract. I try to read something new that I think I understand. I try to learn. I try to do my own self-development and self-growth. You know, the first principle of the Army is know yourself and seek self-improvement. So I always try to be the most knowledgeable realtor there is. And I never want to be the smartest realtor, because then where do you go from there, right? And then if I don't know the answer, know where to go to get the answer. You know,
Right.
I can't hold everything in my mind, but sometimes it's a quick call to my broker, to Karen, to somebody, or, hey, I know that in paragraph XYZ, it states right there, let me go read it real quick, because they may have changed the verbiage because contracts
Right.
change.
Right.
But I'll never be the agent that sells 100 houses, a million houses, whatever. I don't really care for the number. I don't, because I have other things that matter to me.
What matters?
My family.
Okay.
And it goes back to the Army. Like, I've sacrificed so much. I spent 55 months in combat, just in combat. That doesn't include the train up. That doesn't include the downtime. That doesn't include all that jazz. I lost a lot of that time.
Sure.
And that time is valuable. So now there's things that I won't do. For example, I won't do an open house. Won't do it.
Right.
So, and I tell people when I'm at the table, you know, I'm not going to do an open house. I can get somebody to cover down for me,
Right.
but I'm not going to do it.
And there's
Tulio
nothing
won't
wrong
be
with
here.
that.
No, there's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
You know, and most people are okay with it as long as I can get somebody to cover down.
Sure.
You know, type deal.
Well, it's
So
good they're coming back, kind of. You know, there's a couple of years where we couldn't even
we
do
couldn't.
that.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Yeah.
So-
What else do we need to? What do we know or not know about you? What's something that you'll say to me and I'll be like, "Holy crap! I didn't know that."
You didn't know? Well, I think we're friends, and I think you know a lot about me because you asked me that question a lot. So I think you know that I like rock music. I think you know that.
Rock music?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, who's a rock music guy?
Me.
Like, no. What would?
Oh, Metallica. Like, that's my
Oh,
favorite
okay,
band.
okay,
Yeah, my
okay,
favorite
okay.
song is Metallica, you know, by Alter Bridge. So-
Metalingus?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir. So if you haven't
And
heard
that's
it, it's-
Metallica.
No, that's
Oh, that-
Alter Bridge.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not my genre, but
Yeah, so I love that genre of music. But again, I'm so diverse. I feel like my music can go from, you know, Beethoven to Claude Debussy to.
you don't listen to Beethoven.
I do too.
No, you don't.
better ask my wife. I do
Okay,
too.
yeah.
Then it'll go straight into George Strait, straight into Garth Brooks.
You just
straight.
want
Huh?
to torture yourself or whatever.
No, I love
Okay.
I love music.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's what is that something we don't know about you?
Yeah, I don't think many people know about me. That
Beethoven.
I can sit back and listen to classical music and
All right.
enjoy the moment.
Tchaikovsky.
Tchaikovsky,
Yeah. He's Polish.
Mr. Wolfgang Amadeus.
Okay.
Yeah, I could get down with it.
All right.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, everybody. Tulio Morales. We'll see you next week.